us. There was once a knight called Virginius, who had many friends, much wealth, and a loving wife and daughter. The daughter possesses a beauty so great that even Pygmalion could not have created her equal. She was also humble in speech and avoided events which might compromise her virtue. They break off to address governesses and parents, telling them to bring up their children to be virtuous. The maid one day went into town toward a temple with her mother, where the judge who governed the town saw the knight's daughter and lusted after her. The judge's name was Appius, and he said, "So was his name, for this is no fable." A false churl, Claudius, made a complaint against Virginius, and the judge summoned him to hear the charge against him. Claudius, in short, claimed that Virginius was holding one of his servants, a beautiful young girl, against her will, and pretending she was his daughter. The judge did not listen to Virginius's argument in his own defense, but ordered that the girl be taken as a ward of the court. Virginius returned home and called his daughter. When she was scared in the face, he exclaimed to her that now there were only two avenues open to her, either death or shame. Virginius decided in a long, mournful speech to his daughter to kill her, and although she begged for mercy and another solution, eventually she asked for a little leisure to contemplate her death. She then fell into a swoon, and when she awoke, she blessed God that she could die a virgin. Virginius then took his sword and cut off her head and took it to the judge. The judge saw the head. He tried to escape and hang himself, but soon 1,000 people thrust in, knowing of the false iniquity, took Appius and threw him into prison. Claudius was sentenced to be hanged upon a tree, except that Virginius pleaded on his behalf, succeeding in reducing the sentence to exile. The partner begins by addressing the company, explaining to them that when he preaches in churches, his voice booms out impressively like a bell, and the theme is always that greed is the root of all evil. Then the partner invites anyone who has sinned to come and offer money to his relics, and therefore to be absolved from the partner's power. This trick, the partner says, has earned him at least 100 marks since he was made partner, and he often steals from people. Thus, the partner says, he spits out the vendom under the pretense of holiness. Finally, the partner tells the company how he tells his congregation old stories from long ago. There once lived in Flanders a company of 3 rioters who did nothing but engage in irresponsible and sinful behavior. The 3 drunkards were in a tavern one night, and hearing a bell ring, looked outside to see men carrying a corpse to its grave. One of them called to his slave to go and ask who the corpse was. He was told by a boy that the corpse was an old fellow whose heart was smashed in two by a secret thief called Death. The drunkard agreed and discussed with his companions how this Death had indeed slain so many people. When they had gone not even half a mile, they met an old, poor man at a stile who greeted them courteously. The proudest of the drunkards responded rudely, asking the man why he was still alive at such a ripe age. The old man answered that he was alive because he could not find anyone who would exchange their youth for his age, and although he knocked on the ground, begging to let him in, he still did not die. Moreover, the old man added, it was not courteous of the drunkard to speak so rudely to an old man. One of the other drunkards responded more rudely that the old man was to tell them where Death was, or regretted not telling them dearly. The old man, still polite, told the drunkards they could find Death up the crooked way and underneath an oak tree. The drunkards ran till they came to the tree, and underneath it they found 8 bushels of gold coins. The worst of them spoke first, arguing that fortune had given them the treasure to live their lives in happiness, but realized they could not carry the gold home without people seeing them and thinking them thieves. Therefore he suggested they should draw lots, and one of them should run back to town and fetch bread and wine, while the other 2 protected the treasure. Then at night they could agree where to take the treasure and carry it safely. This was agreed, and lots were drawn. The youngest of them was picked to go to the town. However, as soon as he had gone to town, the 2 remaining drunkards plotted amongst themselves to stab him upon his return, and then split the gold between them. While he was in town, the youngest thought of the beauty of the gold coins and decided to buy some poison in order to kill the other 2, keeping the gold for himself. Thus he went to an apothecary, bought some strong and violent poison, poured it into 2 or 3 wine bottles, topped them off with wine, and returned to his fellows. Exactly as the other two had planned, it befell. They killed him on his return and sat down to enjoy the wine before burying his body, and as it happened, drank the poison and died. The tale ends with a short sermon against sin, asking God to forgive the trespasses of good men and warning them against the sin of this.